Welcome to another episode of Gear Time. I'm here with Drew.
Hi guys.
And we are going to... Do you want to start off this with a little bit of rumors today?
Sure. Yeah.
We like hardware. There's been a cool hardware rumor.
Couple of them.
Couple of them, actually, yeah. One of them actually is an announcement. There's a Chinese company that's making lenses, prime lenses, that's going to be Sony E-mount. Did you see that one?
No, I didn't see that one. Tell me about it.
It's, let me see if I can find it again. Oh, Kip-On. Kip-On reveals the first third-party... Oh, sorry. They already have them for the E-mount. I'm going back to Canon now. Okay. I'm stuck on Canon EOS R because actually they're going to release the first third-party lenses for the Canon R mount and for the Nikon Z mount.
We should be wearing our Canon EOS R shirts.
Yeah, but they're long sleeve, and I'd be sweating like crazy if I had them on right now.
They're nice T-shirts.
They are.
Picture Line gave us a couple of T-shirts.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
So
Kip-On is a Chinese manufacturer that's been doing lenses they've been researching for about 6 years, getting the best that they can do for the best kind of glass and the mechanical engineering and all that stuff.
Have you ever used one of their lenses? Have you ever seen one?
I have. I've seen one that. I've seen one of the lenses that Kai actually did a review on a similar lens.
Look at that.
Because there was a pink one at Photokina.
Look at that.
So there's the R lens. So it's a huge mount on that, but this is the first of the third parties to do the R mount. So I think Sigma's probably hot on the heels. Sigma's probably hot on the heels of that announcement, I'm sure.
There we go. Well, I know that Sigma is, when we talk to the guys, I know they're planning on switching and getting some. He wouldn't confirm it with us, but when we were talking to the Sigma rep, it sounds like obviously they're going to meet the market demand. And I mean, we are all getting into the other rumor. I think everybody is a little bit disappointed with the Canon EOS R that was released so far. Yeah. One of the reasons was that it doesn't have image stabilization.
IBIS.
No in-body image stabilization. Yeah. And the Nikon and the Sonys do, and everybody's like, what?
Right.
And they're talking about how there's plenty of room inside that mount for them to put the motors in to allow for the movement of the sensor to do that. And they're going, what the heck? Why didn't they do that? But I think one of the things that Canon has done pretty well is, I think, rather than do everything at once, they've announced these pretty intriguing lenses and a kind of a midstream mirrorless. Yeah. And now we're starting to hear about the next mirrorless and some of the things that are coming out with that one. And as far as the rumors go, one of the rumors is sensor size and in-body image stabilization are two things that they're...
Yeah, first rumor came out last week or 2 weeks ago. That's going to be a rumor that'd be a 75 megapixel sensor in the next Canon, which would be amazing. I mean, it'd be a step up from the 5DS that they have, DSR, and then image stabilizer in the camera body. So on Petapixel, they've actually got a quote from one of the engineers saying that the lenses they found, and I think they did initial research for years they've been doing research on image stabilization, I'm sure. And they found that the lens actually offers better stabilization when it's built in the lens. That's why they've always gone that route. Okay. But I think because the market is demanding in-body, and it's now being frowned upon, that I think they're going to have to do maybe a hybrid or
the thing that's cool about in-body image stabilization is, like, if you get these G-Master lenses that last November I completely ditched all of my Canon gear. The only Canon lenses that I've still got I've got an IRIX 15mm that we're going to be talking about because
it's in the mail, right?
Yeah, it's in the mail because IRIX does not make a they don't make a Sony mount, no E-mount lenses yet.
Oh, okay.
So they
it's just the Nikon and the Canon.
And so I have both, and when we talk about that, I think we'll talk about the Metabones adapters and the Sigma adapters, because I've got an XC11 and I've got a Metabones
That'll be great.
adapter.
We can do that next week.
Yeah, I think we can do that next week. So I think last week we were talking a little bit about my decision as far as getting some lenses that are good for Astral. Is I decided to go with the 20mm because my wife and I both are moved to Sony now, and she has a Sony A7 III, and I've got the R3.
Okay.
And so instead of getting one 14 millimeter, I got a 20 millimeter Sigma 1.4, and I got, with the leftover money, because it literally saved me that much over the 14.
Right.
I got the 14 millimeter IRIX 2.8.
Right.
And one of the reasons I got that is because Royce Bear has talked so highly of that one, and it's purely manual, one we're shooting, astral anyhow.
It's perfect, actually.
And so I'm okay with using that with the adapter. But getting back to this, like the G Master lenses, not all of the lenses, but the G Master lenses have in the lens and in stabilization.
Oh, really? Okay.
And in body stabilization.
Is it like always on? You can't switch it off for the G Masters? I don't know if I've ever seen a switch for it.
No, you don't need to. I mean, I've seen people where they're talking about like, oh, you need to turn off the, like if you've got a lens on, like even with the Canons, that if you've got a lens on your tripod, you should turn that off.
Yeah.
You don't need to turn it off with the newer ones. That's not the case. It's not going to be moving.
Because with the older lenses that I have, that all have image stabilization.
Yeah.
And even in the Tamron, if you leave it on, especially if you're doing a time lapse,
it'll quiver.
Yeah, it quivers every single time, and so your stars will have this different little movement squiggles. So when you mix if you do like a star trail, it ends up looking like a
with the
like
time lapse. I can't say
the
the same thing, but when you're just shooting like a 20-second exposure on a tripod, with the newer lenses, the in-lens image stabilization doesn't. It can tell if it's on a tripod with the newer ones.
Okay, because the other ones don't. They're always going to jiggle a little bit when you first.
But I don't know how that works with the time lapse. I don't know if it's something that's a concern with the newer lenses with the time lapse.
Yeah, that's why it's nice to have a switch. You're just safer just turning it off. I mean, if you're stable and you're not moving anywhere, you might as well be bet on the safer side and just turn it off.
But the in-body image stabilization makes it so that you have these older lenses that get a couple extra stops,
right?
Because it will, you can handhold even with an older lens down to like a tenth of a second.
Yeah.
Because of the in-body image stabilization. So I think
really
that's
cool.
the reason that people were a little disappointed in the DSR. In the R EOS R coming out without in-body image stabilization, but it sounds like it's on the horizon.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably one place where, so as strange as it sounds, I think that was a good move by Canon to say, hey, look, here's our initial offering, and look at all these. So here's our prosumer level body, and here's all these pro lenses that are coming up. And they've announced some lenses too. That's a rumor of some new lenses that are coming that sound pretty incredible as well.
Sure.
From Canon, where they're saying this EOS R, and they've announced some new ones recently. I can't even remember which ones they are. Maybe do you remember which ones are?
I know there's a really fast one, like a 0.9 or 0.95 or something like that, like f.95 that's going to be coming out.
And Sony has actually even responded to both Canon and Nikon talking about these ultra fast lenses, and I agree with them. When you get to the point where you've got lenses that are that fast, your field of view, like the focal point is, it's razor thin. Now that's true to an extent. If you're doing aerial photography with one of these things and you're getting far enough away from your subject, if you're doing astral with it wide open, then it doesn't matter as much, because what you're shooting is so freaking far away that field of view, even if it's razor thin, becomes pretty wide. And so it's usable at that point. But still, I think those lenses are super, super specialty to get you have the 50 millimeter Canon 1.2. I had that lens, and you do have to be really, really careful with it.
Yeah, if you're wide open,
but it's you got to be really careful.
Yeah, it's true. Another thing that I read was at MIT or some other college had come up with a cool coating that actually cuts chromatic aberration down like crazy amount.
To the
that
point,
was really cool.
Where they could put it on super cheap lenses that normally do have a ton of chroma, and they're like, man, it's gone.
Look like normal.
Yeah.
So it's really something they can put on older lenses too. You think, like just coat the front element or something? That'd be amazing. If you get a spray on, wipe, and all of a sudden your chromatic aberration is gone. That'd be a miracle.
I don't know about that. But I mean, I only have one lens that I use regularly where that's something that I really fight with, and it's my Canon 24mm tilt shift. And on the edges of that
and my
one,
50's the same too.
I'll get green and pink.
You get a lot of separation.
Aberration with that, and it drives me a little bit crazy. But I usually But
if you stop it down quite a bit, it usually mitigates that quite a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, but my favorite use for that 24mm is to do tilt shift panels, and we'll have one of these where we specifically talk about tilt shifts. And I'm never using the edges anyhow because I'm shifting all the way through it, so it doesn't matter to me too much.
We both have tilt shift lenses, and we want to cover that. Maybe after the New Year's, we'll go and do a really good cover on how tilt shift lenses work, because there's only very few manufacturers that actually make them. Right. And no one's made anything recently, hasn't there? I mean, I think there was maybe one new tilt shift came out like last year.
Yes, Canon has come out about a year and a half ago with a couple of 3 new tilt shift lenses that are
those.
Kind of the fill-in, and interestingly enough, that some of them are really long lenses, and so I thought that was interesting. The other thing,
like an 85 or something like that.
Yeah. The other thing that's interesting is that there is a E-mount adapter, EOS to E-mount adapter that is out from
not Metabones.
No, it's the one that makes my snorkel lens.
Oh, Laowa.
Laowa.
Okay.
Laowa has one that does the shifting, but not the tilting. So the adapter itself allows you to shift. And I don't know about you, but I don't tilt much with my lenses. I mean, I've screwed around with it and stuff, but there's not...
It's really fun to play with, artistically, but in actual practice...
Yeah, it's
only if you're going for a certain aesthetic.
Right.
Do you tilt.
Right.
The shift is really where the good stuff is for that.
Right.
Speaking of shift, let's talk about this Mind Shift bag.
Yeah, last week we had some audio issues, and we're sorry about that.
Yeah.
We've actually got great equipment, but the problem that we have here,
our settings were crazy,
is we have to set this setup up every week before we do this. And in the future, our hope is that we can get to the point, I'm moving a house and stuff like that, and I live close enough that we're going to be able to do this, but I think we're kind of exploring the idea of actually building a studio there where we can just leave it set up all the time.
Which would be great.
Then it'll be easier. But we talked
about this bag last week, and we want to give it away.
Yeah, and I've got the little one of this. I've got the small one, the light version of this that has 4 slots, but it doesn't have it. And we talked about Breakthrough Photography's ND filters last week.
Right.
And the Breakthroughs, I mean, they're great. You can use... I've got the ND filters that are the circular 82mm compatible magnetic ones.
Right.
And those will fit in these little guys right here. It has room for 6 round ones. And then it has room for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, really 6 slots here. And they kind of got color coded. It has room up here. I'm gonna buy one of these bags myself because it has room right here for the square filter holder that clips on the front. And so I can put the holder here, and I can put my
and these are big enough to fit the 100mm by 150.
Not the 150s.
No, but 100 by 150.
But the 100 by 150s that fits here.
Yeah.
And then I can put the other ones down in here, which is this is awesome. But we want
to give this away. So if you guys, the people who share this on either Facebook or Twitter or wherever your favorite sharing site is. Share the live video, share the link, and we will give this bag away to one of the random awesome people that do share, and we'll give it away next week. So
we'll put this a link that you can share in the Facebook users group.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we can get to what we have talked about, really covering today, other than rumors and stuff like that, some actual devices. And
yes,
and we've done a previous show on small attached storage for things, but today we're going to cover kind of network attached storage, and specifically Drobos. And the new Drobo, there's actually a brand new one that they just announced and released. That is a Thunderbolt 3 Drobo with 8 bays. 8 bays, not 5.
Okay, not 5. The standard is 5. Okay.
And it's about, I think it's about $1,400 for the box itself.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, and so I was like, oh man, I wish I had that. But I had just gotten, I've got the new i9 MacBook Pro.
Okay.
And
it's running Thunderbolt 3, right?
It has Thunderbolt 3. So does the previous generation. Okay. So do the iMacs. This works. Intel has started putting Thunderbolt 3 on most of its new motherboards and things like that for the PCs. Okay. And so it's getting to where it's pretty ubiquitous. But one of the problems that there are a few different, there's QNAP that makes network attached storage or direct attached storage. Yep. There is Promise that makes the Promise RAID boxes that are super fast, and they've actually been enough faster than Drobo that some people have specifically chosen those over Drobo because of the speed.
But you can even build your own network attached storage using the open software, which I think is from, which comes from not from QNet, from the other one, from Logisys, I think, or
from Promise.
No, it's not from Promise. It's like an open version of, but it's called Open NAS. So you can just download that, and you can build your own PC box, put a network card in there, even a 10 gigabit card in there, and have a 10 gigabit NAS if you want.
And see, with network attached storage, I am not going to be like super sold on Drobo.
Right, right.
With network attached storage, I think there are a lot of different options. There's a lot of different ways to go, and there's a lot of different reasons. But with Drobo has some real advantages. And Drobo, the company, is going to stay around, but they just got bought by another company that is called, boy, I should have done remembering and reminded myself. It's a bigger company that does kind of the mid-size, like if you've got a mid-size company and you need some big storage that sits back in your server room. These guys do that. They don't do the huge server farms that, Facebook Google or Apple or Google is not using their stuff. These are kind of a medium-sized thing, and they own Drobo now. Okay. But that's great that Drobo's going to be around, but what they're trying to do is they're trying to integrate those two platforms together. So if you've got a medium-sized company that has some creative professionals, you can
smaller devices for those guys, and bigger devices for
cool. And for me, I am the smaller guy, and I don't work for a company where I'm even interested in. We can tell Aaron to look that company's name up while we're doing this, but because they just bought Drobo like a month ago. Okay. But I didn't have a use for
store-centric.
There we go. Okay. I didn't have a use for a Thunderbolt 3 Drobo. I had a Thunderbolt 2 Drobo, but I didn't have a Mac that had a Thunderbolt 3 port on it, so I didn't care.
Okay. But Thunderbolt 2 running at like 20 gigabit?
Yeah.
It's pretty fast.
It's pretty fast.
Yeah.
Thunderbolt 3 will do 40.
I know.
The thing that's interesting is that, you talk about that, that's what the bus will carry.
Right.
You're not going to
faster than the actual hard drives can go.
Right.
By almost double or more than double.
And so what Thunderbolt 3 can do is you can hook a Thunderbolt 3 Drobo up, and then it has 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports, and so you can daisy chain out of that into your 2 4K or 1 5K monitor. Right. And the bus can carry the data fast enough that it'll actually transfer that the data at full speed as fast as the hard drives can go, and the video for a 5K monitor at the same time.
See, that's what's impressive. That's what's cool about it.
Got a question from the group saying, hey, how does Drobo differ from a product like Lacey with multiple drives?
Okay, that's what we're going to get into.
Cover that. So this is basically like a LaCie drive. This is a Toshiba G drive that I've actually taken apart.
G Technologies drives are awesome. Yeah. They really are.
So this is the G drive. This it's a really interesting case, but this is an older drive. This is actually several generations back, where it actually has a Firewire 800. So for you Mac guys that remember that, USB 2.0, yay, and the eSATA is the one that I use. So what I do is I have two of these guys, and I stack them on top of my old Mac Pro, and I use the eSATA cables, and I go into a separate eSATA card into the back, and so it's running at full 6 gigabits, and then I RAID them in the software in my Disk Tools program in my Mac, and then these work as I actually took these apart, but 4 terabytes in them, 4 terabytes each. So they originally came with 3 terabytes. I took those out, put in 4 terabytes, and that's just enough for me to use as a constant backup. But even that's getting full now.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to upgrade these to some newer ones, maybe a couple of 6 or a couple of 8s. Go in here, and then I can double my storage. And what's great is I can keep using these drives. These cases are great. I can keep using those, and they're just constantly running. They're backing up Time Machine every hour, every day, every week, every month, all that good stuff.
See, and for me, it's fast. I mean, if I was just doing photography, that'd be one thing, but I have so much video, and the video is getting insane.
Because it's 4K plus.
I can do 6K video from the drone.
Right.
6K Apple ProRes RAW from the drone. So it's gotten to the point where the requirement for me is kind of silly as far as the as a matter of fact, I'm finally to the point where I've got my Backblaze backup is completed. But one thing that's really nice, if we talk about that just for a second, about direct attached storage versus network attached storage,
like online storage bank,
is that if you have Backblaze, Backblaze will back up your direct attached storage devices, but it will not back up a network attached storage device.
Okay.
And so that can be a problem. Now,
so if you're USB 3 or eSATA or USB whatever or Thunderbolt,
if it's mounted and it's shown up there as a direct attached storage, it will go ahead.
But it won't back up a NAS.
No,
because a NAS basically is what they are.
Yeah,
and your NAS can be huge, and so probably not going to
back so I upgraded to gigabit internet at my house. Fortunately, I could do that. And for about 6 months, I've been backing up these gigantic boxes, and I actually had to upgrade my amount of storage that they would allow, because I was backing up more than my 50 terabyte or was it 50 gigabyte? I think it's a 50 gigabyte limitation, and so I was sending more than that up, and I needed a faster connection, so I did that, and I'm finally there. So here's one of the differences between a Drobo box, and I have 3 Drobo boxes. This one is the USB 3 4-bay Drobo box. I don't think they even sell this new anymore.
Probably not, yeah. So you got the blue USB 3 connector in there, power and a switch,
Right, so this one will do 10 gigabytes per second on a USB 3. I believe this is even 3.1.
Okay, cool, yeah.
The other thing that's kind of cool about it is that if you look at this and we pop one of these out, you'll see this one is a Western Digital, and this one just has whatever I've got. I have Caviar Green on this one, and then this one right here, I don't know what this one is a Seagate 4 terabyte right there. You can't do that with anybody but Drobo. That's one of the differences, is that I can slap any old drive into a Drobo box and it can use it. They can all be different sizes. They can all be different everything. That's one of the advantages.
But when you do that, you do lose the advantage of speed.
Yeah, you lose a little bit of speed.
Yeah.
But it
depends on the RAID level you do. These already are basically running at RAID 5. Or RAID 5+1 or whatever.
Yeah, you can either do it to where it's doubly redundant or redundant.
Right.
Okay. I just do because I've got them backed up with Backblaze. I don't want to waste as much drive space, so I have it singly redundant. If I lost 2 of them, I'm going to have to contact Backblaze if 2 of these bite the dust at the same time. They can sometimes run pretty hot because hard drives run pretty hot. This one, you know, it has a big fan in the back. So does the other one. But I did not bring my Thunderbolt 2 RAID or box with me here. I brought the 3. Now what they do is if you want to switch that over.
The camera. I'm going to move this camera closer here.
Okay. So what they've got is, you can see right here. Here's your database actions required. If you got a green light, the system is healthy. If you have one that goes to yellow, it means that either the drive is sick. That's usually what it means.
It's going up the smart data on the drive. Yeah.
Yep. If it blinks green and yellow, it's backing up stuff to it, and you better not remove it or you'll screw something up.
Okay.
Okay. If it's red, it means that something is it's like yellow, except it's worse.
Yeah.
Like
if there's a drive in there,
you need to.
If there's no drive in there, will it be red all the time? If there's just empty?
No, it's just blank.
Okay, it's just
nothing
off.
there.
Okay.
And then if you have a full-blown drive replacement, then it says, okay, you've got this. Now these stick on with magnets.
Yeah,
so
that's cool.
That's kind of cool. And then you can see this on the front. Now what I do in my server closet is I actually leave the front off, and I bought a little USB powered fan, and I have another fan on the front too.
Oh, okay.
Just because I don't want these to heat up as much, and I think that I'll have more drive longevity by having a little additional cooling on them. So these right here show the how full the entire box is. How much? See, I'm at 80% now on this one. Okay, and so what I've got here is I've got 2 6 terabyte Western Digital Reds.
Okay.
I've got 2 6 terabyte 8 terabyte Hitachi HGSTs.
Okay.
And then I've got 1 Exos, 12 terabyte Exos drive in here. And I can do that, and I'm still transferring. The data transfer speeds that I'm getting on this right now are literally about 450 gigabytes a second write speeds, and about 600 gigs a second.
Megabytes a second.
Megabytes a second read speed.
Okay.
So it's pretty dang fast with...
Yeah, 450 megs a second is pretty darn fast. I mean...
Yeah, I can do
that's just barely slower than what I'm getting out of my 2 drives here.
Right, and I'm totally redundant. Completely redundant.
Well, these are set to... Mine are set to a RAID 0 for speed. And that's because it's a single backup point. So mine's really, really simplistic version of the it's basically one drive backing up another single drive where all my data is stored. Okay. So I'm only banking on like a single point failure. So if both my drives go, then I'm screwed, right?
Yeah.
But if one, but the chances of that happening are pretty slim. I mean, we're talking like 1%. Right. So if these drives go, great, then I just replace it and I do my backup all over again. But if my main drive fails and I've got the backup here, something really bad has to happen for everything to go down at once. So,
right. So because you've got a full duplicate.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised you get that kind of speed, even with that, even with the SATA, because I've got the
ESATAs are 6 gigabits per channel, and when I link them as RAID 0, it's 12 gigabits per second. So theoretically, it should be like 1,000 megabytes a second, but you know, because of latency and speed and the drives and all that stuff, it's probably closer to 500 and something.
Yeah.
So those drives in there are not solid-state drives?
No.
And have you had any options for doing solid-state drives with the Drobo?
Sure.
Yes, the Drobo can handle solid-state drives. I can put 5 solid-state drives.
You just need an adapter to slide in that spot,
yeah,
right?
It'll handle that. The other thing that's interesting that these have, maybe switch over to that.
Okay, switch back to the
is that the 5 has, and this is running right now.
Yeah, so you have to be very careful with it.
But it has this little door right here.
Oh, look at that.
Okay, so that what that does is that makes this thing work like a
That's
simple
your cache drive.
Yes. like a super digital hybrid drive. So that's a 1 gig cache drive that's in there, and
that's upgradable. That's just like a PCI or M.2.
Yeah, it's an M.2 card, and it will use everything except the SAM point. It uses like Samsung or, well, I mean, any of the M.2 drives. So you just grab an old one. 512 gig is fine, and so you just put that in there, and that makes it so you have a caching solution for quick access to smaller files. It just smartly does that. Now, another thing that's kind of interesting about Drobo is the Drobos have a battery in them. Okay. Yeah. And they'll run for, I mean, it's not designed as a full-blown UPS.
Right.
But it has, like, they have their own, I mean, basically, these are little mini computers.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and so they've got their own operating system basically on them.
Okay.
And they have a couple of neat things that they do. One thing that they do is they'll go back, and every 30 days they go through and they check all your data.
Okay.
The other thing is that while the drive sits idle, it will reallocate where the data is in the drive to make it faster.
So it'll auto-optimize.
Yes, it automatically optimizes. The other thing that it does is it has that battery in there, so if you have a power outage or I pull the plug and I shouldn't have, and there's data, for example, on that cache drive,
right,
or data in the cache, it has some cache that's built into the box.
Each drive has cache too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It will run for about 5 minutes before it really shuts down, so it can write that cached data to the drives. And so
that way you don't corrupt your data and screw yourself.
Exactly.
Really bad,
that's one of the reasons that it does that.
Yeah.
And so it has some real advantages to that, where it's kind of made it so you don't have to be a super techie guy to handle it. Now, I've heard of people having bad experiences with these. I really never have.
Okay.
I've pretty much only had good experiences. I had with this one, I had a time when I had a data corruption, and they actually suggest Disk Warrior. And
yes, for the Mac.
I own Disk Warrior for the Mac, and it went in there and it can read it, and it fixed it. So that was 3 or 4 years ago. I've had this one for about 4 years.
Okay.
So now I have all 4 of them, and my most important data I put on my best drives on this one.
Okay.
And then I have the other one that I've thrown. I actually, our friend Kurt bought one of those 8 terabyte drives from
the Seagate drive.
The Seagate drive that we talked about a while ago. And one of the things that's called a shingled drive, to where it overlays one layer of data over the other just a little bit. It's a weird thing that it does to the drive tech, and he had a problem with it. I'm running one of those drives in my Thunderbolt 2 Drobo, 5-bay Drobo, and I don't seem to have any problem with it, but I put a little bit less
I think you got
critical.
I think you got a dud.
Yeah, I wonder if he did.
Because really, when it comes to drives, the experiences that I've had is like, if it's going to do something weird in the first 30 days, then it's going to do it.
Crap out.
But if once it goes past like 60 or 90 days and you've had no problems, it'll last 5 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we've never had a drive that's been like a year old, all of a sudden freak out.
Right.
You know, if it's going to freak out, it's going to freak out within the first like month or two. And then you just send it back and get another one. Hopefully you don't lose anything.
Here's something else that's really cool about Drobo. I mean, other than being able to use different size drives, different brands of drives, which is really cool, is that if you get to the point, like if I get to the point where it's like I've got all 14 terabyte drives in here, and I'm out of room.
Yeah.
Now,
where do you go from there?
The biggest drive size, so it gives you a drive that is a 64 gigabyte drive. Okay, that's your biggest drive size.
Yeah.
But what you can do with these that is different than with any other company, you can't do this with Promise. You can't do it with the QNAP box. You got to keep them all the same brand, all the same size, and then what do you do if you need to upgrade? What do you do? You're screwed. I can take the drives out of this one, and I can put them in this one. I can take these 4 drives, and I can put them in here and add another one. I can take these 5 drives, and I can buy the 8-bay one, and I can put them all in there and have 3 more open spaces to move into if I want to, and that's not a problem. They actually, like each drive pack, you just got to keep them in order, and it reads them the same, it recognizes. Now, you can't move backwards. So once you've moved up to a bigger size, you can't remove one of the drives from the set and go back to a smaller, lower bay setup. You can't do that. But so
it's easy to go up, but probably a lot harder to go down.
Impossible to go down. But they work well. Never remove a drive while the box is on. I mean, with this one, I have no problem removing them, popping it out, saying, you know, I can see that, and it's no problem. If you remove one, even if I remove one of these while it's running, it presumes that the drive failed for the drive pack, and if I put it back in, it will spend like 36 hours copying the data back to that drive. I've done that mistakenly once. Don't do that.
Right.
The other thing that I like, and one of the reasons that I stay with the Drobo, is that they have this little utility that's here, so it gives you your Drobo dashboard right here.
Get one of the handheld to show.
So my Drobo utility right here, you can see the one Thunderbolt 3, it's the only one that's hooked up. But if I have all 3 hooked up, it will show them all right here. Then you double click on it, it shows me I've got my 8 terabytes, 12, 6 terabytes right here. It tells me the status. It can give, like I can send, right down here, it's recognizing that I've got the SATA accelerator in there. And I can do several things here. I can get a diagnostic to send to Drobo to double check these. I can do one of those. I can check on the capacity right here. It shows me that really I've got 25 terabytes worth of drives in here.
And you've used 21.
I've used 21 of it. Now, obviously, if you look at this and you say, well, is that 25 terabytes? I've got 16. I've got another 12 over here. I've got another 12 here. So I've got 24 plus 16, really. And then you go over here and you go, what? Where did it all go? It's the redundancy.
It's redundancy. That's why it's using one of those drives to back up everything in kind of like in a weird way. It's like
it's actually some of each of the drives is the redundancy, which makes it so that
when one fails, you don't lose everything, and you just put another drive in, and then it backs everything back up to the new drive,
which is awesome.
Which is a great feature.
So that's it. You've got your tools here. It kind of gives you, like, I can reset the Drobo, I can reformat it in here, so I can rename it.
One question that I have is, when you have the Drobo and it's hooked up to your computer, do you see each individual drive as one drive, or you see it as a solid 25 terabyte drive on your desktop?
Just as one drive. So you come over here, and there's my Drobo Thunderbolt 3. Now you
can, nice and simple. You just keep it as one drive. And you add whatever you want, and there's
one 64 terabyte drive is the maximum. So if I put all gigantic drives in there, it could get up to 64. Now if I put more drives in there than I need to get to 64 terabytes, I can make another volume that's up to another 64 terabytes. Obviously, I wouldn't have enough there. The other thing you can do is you can make a smaller partition that is specifically for backing up using your what's it called? Your backup solution.
Time machine.
So you can make a time machine specific partition.
And
that's a good idea to do that, because you don't want that residing with the rest of it. And it actually, the Drobo box will treat that time machine partition a little bit differently as far as its backing stuff up and optimization and stuff like that goes. So that's a good idea. I use a separate detached drive as my time machine drive for these guys. So I use a separate, just a USB 3 drive for that. So I love Drobos. I think they work really well. I think it's a good idea to buy them and pay for the technical support just in case something happens. That's an extra level of, like, I mean, it's more money, but it's an extra level of coverage. And so I really I'm sold on them, and I love the idea that they're supported well enough that if I ever max this sucker out, I can move up. I can buy an 8-bay one.
Right.
So that's a real advantage to them as well.
Okay, cool.
So that's, I mean, you know, even if they're just a little slower than the promised rate,
they're still pretty fast though. They're still fast enough for doing pretty much anything you needed to.
Yeah, it's so worth it for me just knowing that I don't have to. You know, I mean, I can, like, if a yellow light shows up, I jump on Amazon or B&H and I look for the most terabytes that I can have in the most, you know, I mean, I've got one of these that's all really good, solid network attached storage, like, you know, either the Western Digital Reds or the HGST or the Exos or whatever, those kind of drives. I got another one that I'm not as worried about data goes in that one, and I've got the, you know, 8 terabyte Seagate regular ones in that one, and I don't care.
Right.
So it works well, and not having to, you know, I mean, with the other ones where you can't just upgrade to different sizes and things like that, those are a lot harder to manage and deal with. And that's one of the main reasons that I'm really sold on Drobos. So, okay, so that's what we're going to talk about there. Cool. One of the other things we wanted to talk about today, and I realized I left something that I wished at home. I got to pack all this stuff up, bring it over here, look at it and stuff, and I'm a little frustrated with myself because I left 2 things that I was going to talk about. I was going to talk a little bit today about, actually I left 3 things today that I want to talk about, is capture clips and straps from Peak Design. I'm sold on Peak Design to the point where I actually, so I've got an L bracket from Really Right Stuff. I've got this L bracket from Really Right Stuff here, and I've actually put the Peak Design little you know, clip on the bottom of the L bracket from Really Right Stuff. Yeah. People think that's funny, but I take and I use these capture clips, and this is the second version. They're on the 3rd version of the capture clip. Okay. The truth is that I bought another 2nd version, which is right here, and I've got 2 of these already. Rather than after going to the 3rd version, the 3rd version is a little sleeker. It's a little lighter. But it doesn't have quite the adjustments that the 2nd version does, and it's a little harder for me to use, the truth be told. Okay. And so I've got that, and so what you do is you take this and you can put this clip on a right here. Let's switch over to the little one.
Let's switch back to handheld.
Yeah, let's switch off to the handheld. Okay. So you can right here you can switch this to like where you get this little belt pack that's about $30. Okay. That makes it so you can use your capture clip on your belt. Right. Okay. You can also get they come with a little pad that will go behind a strap on your backpack. Okay. So you can put your capture clip up here on your like shoulder of your backpack. Yeah. Now when I'm out shooting, here's another one that shows where that's on somebody's strap. Right. Now when I'm out shooting, I actually usually am using a couple of capture clips, maybe 2, sometimes 3. I'll have one. So what I do is I put it to where I can put my camera on my capture clip that's sitting on my belt strap. And then I'll have another one up here on my backpack. And sometimes I don't want to take my backpack with me, and so I'll have 2 belt capture clips, and I have my camera on one side, and then I have 2 lenses. And this is one of the things that I didn't bring with me. Is I've got a lens holder. Yeah. And
we've shown that before, though, I think.
I don't know. I think I didn't remember it that time either. But it actually will fit on the capture clip, and it'll spin to where you can have either of them up or down. You can hold 2 lenses here. You can put a 70 to 200 on it or whatever. So these work great, and I'm really sold on them. The other thing I wanted to cover is the cuff, and they have a couple of different types of cuffs. Okay. But when
little hand grip is nice. Yeah.
And when I had when I first moved to Sony, I had the A7R2. Okay. And the R2, one of the advantages to the R3 is they made this finger grip bigger than it used to be.
The R2 had a smaller one. Heard a lot of complaints about that.
And it bugged me when I moved to the R2 because it didn't fit my hand. This one fits my hand pretty well, but I got to the point, and I looked at these, and there's another one that's called Spider or something that has a cuff like this.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm sold on Peak. I think their stuff is really pretty nifty. And so I got one of these. Now I've got a couple of them. My wife got the little one for when she was using her Olympus and her A6500.
Okay.
She had one that it's a cuff that you go around. It goes around your wrist, and then your camera can just dangle.
Okay.
And you've got some security as far as that goes.
You're not going to drop it. Yeah.
Since she's moved to the A7 III, she's got one of these too, and she uses this. And so this is just a little hand grip. Now it is handy because I can loosen it up, or I can tighten it up just like that. And now I can hold my camera just like that. And I think we've kind of talked about these before a little bit. But I use that in conjunction with this, and this is the other nifty little thing about Peak, is that they have these little guys, these little red things, and you've probably seen these that all kinds of people are using. And I have, like, I've got big straps and I've got little straps.
Okay.
You can also buy, like, if you have a specific strap that you love, you can buy these little guys. And see how I've got this one? So you can buy these and just thread them through on your own strap, which is super cool. And so you can make it so that you've got any strap you want.
Now, so if this is the bag you like, and you've already got the toggles on there, you can just put it in there.
Right.
And slide it in.
Right.
Since I don't own this, I'm just going to try it out and see.
Yep. Push that. You got to push it down.
Oh, you got to push it. Okay, because it actually slides. Yep. Oh, nice. Okay.
And so they're not just going to come loose.
Fly out.
They have that. So what they have is they have a little piece of
ramp
metal that pushes it against the front, so it doesn't. You have to push them down.
So it's a really simple design, but if it didn't have that ramp, it could slide back out.
Right.
See if it's like you're gonna slide it in there, and
there we go. And so
once it's in there, it's not gonna fall out.
And so this is the way that the straps attach to some other Peak Design bags.
That's cool.
This one is one of the little bags that right now I've got it holding, I think, the 70-200 in there.
And it's easy to pop back out.
And so that's one way to carry this stuff. Now, another thing that I did is, because you can buy these little guys anywhere you want, one of the neat things that this L bracket has now, that all of the new gear from Really Right Stuff has, is they've got these things that are called these QR clip things. And so what happens with these, you want to switch over that again? Yeah. Is so this is on the Mark II tripods, and we're going to cover those pretty soon, is they actually have the hole like these guys do.
Okay.
You can buy a little kit to make it so that my Mark I tripod has the ability to be used with these little guys.
Okay.
So you can actually like bolt this little thing.
Spring-loaded steel balls in there.
Yeah. So when I push in on this button, so now I've got my Peak strap in case I want that.
Okay.
And I have a hook to this little guy, and then I can go like that. See that? It's like in and out in 2 seconds.
Oh, that's nice? Cool.
And so with Peak, now I've got this. I can carry. I can carry this on my shoulder. I can, I've got this around here like that, whatever way I want, and I can get it on and off in 2 seconds, just like that.
Yeah.
Now the Peak Design straps, I haven't seen anything better, including the ones from Really Right Stuff.
Okay.
Their straps are not that cool or versatile compared to the Peak Design straps, where they have this, where the Peak Design straps can get longer or shorter, and they're wide. They're like kind of seatbelt material, and then they've got in here, they've got some padding actually built on there, and then they've got a little grippy stuff to stay on your shoulder. And so you can just go like that, and then you
these handles are really cool. I've never seen anything like that.
And then you just put that back up, and
this one's so much easier than the standard.
They're the very best straps that are there.
Oh wow, okay.
And so I love, and this one obviously has been used quite a bit. This is my
They're not cheap, but you get what you pay for. I mean, you're paying the price that comes with this is the price of the ingenious designs and some of the ease of use. Like, I've never been able to use a strap like this fast, except for it's actually being a seatbelt.
Yeah, it
is.
It's like a seatbelt.
That is really cool.
And then that in conjunction with this,
right,
is awesome. The QR things are actually a little easier to use than the Peak Design little tabby things are. And so I just said, oh, I'm going to use the best of both worlds. I've kind of combined the two systems like that, and
that is great.
And it works great. And so I've really enjoyed that. So that's just a little bit of a showing you a little bit more as far as the Peak Design stuff goes. These are, I mean, we're coming up on Christmas. These are great Christmas presents. And before we leave you, there are a couple little cheap Christmas presents if you've got, you know, you're looking for ideas to give your kids for the photographer in the family or something like that.
Okay.
Here's a few other things that are kind of neat. So this, I've got a ton of these because I bought a lot of these from Costco. Costco carries these nice Eneloop batteries. I've gotten them, maybe we should switch again.
Okay.
I've gotten them where there's blue ones that they have. They have dark blue and light blue, nice little Panasonic Eneloops that are like this. And I bought a ton of those. I bought so many of them, I've got like 4 chargers like this.
Okay.
Because it comes as a set.
And these chargers are cheap. You can, yeah.
Okay. And because of that, I'm like, I mean, I'm super pleased. I've got a lot of Eneloops.
Yeah.
But I started getting to the point where at this point at my house, I don't have non-rechargeable batteries. We only have rechargeables for everything.
They cost more, but they last so much longer. It's just...
Right.
Yeah.
The Eneloops are great, but they're a little more expensive.
Yes, these are the high-end. These are pricey.
Yeah, I could get, like at Costco, when they have them, they're cheap. They're about $25 for 8 of them, and then for 4 of the AAAs and a charger.
Okay.
So that's not bad.
Yeah.
It's a lot cheaper than you're going to buy Eneloops in almost anywhere else.
Right.
But then I started seeing these guys, and people were talking about them, and I have actually done tests myself where I've put fully charged Eneloops in and fully charged Ladas. These ones are the batteries from they're from IKEA, and the IKEA Ladas. These are 2,450 milliamp hours.
Right, which is the same as these.
Yeah, they have now. Because they're the same battery.
They are. I've seen a guy's YouTube video where he literally did a 10 test, voltage test, and the graphs at the end of the day, they were almost identical. I mean, basically identical.
Right. The only difference that you're talking about there between the two graphs is just age of the battery differences. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like how many times it's been recharged because it's so dang close.
Yeah.
I think they're coming out of the same factory.
They really are. They are.
These cost $7 for 4 of them.
Right.
That's it.
And so, these are typically how much?
Those ones, I mean, geez,
$20 for 4 of them, or
well, if you buy them at Costco, they're cheaper. But I don't think they're 20. I think they're about 14. Maybe you can get $14, $15.
So it's literally half the price if you go to IKEA. If you have an IKEA near you, this is a great place to get the batteries. Yeah.
Now, one thing to be aware of is that IKEA carries 2 different types of Lada batteries.
Yes, there's the white ones and the brown ones.
And the brown ones are not 2,450 milliamps.
No,
they
like
cost
900.
the same amount. And you're going, what the heck? Well, what they're for is things that are very low power draw that last a long, long time. So those are for like smoke detectors or like a remote for your TV or something like that. That's what they're for. They'll last for years with this very, very tiny power draw. Okay. And they don't lose as much as these do by just sitting around.
Okay. Because there's a higher capacity, they will discharge themselves. Right.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, for me, I don't care. I don't want to carry different ones. I don't want to have to find the different ones. Right. I've got probably 40 or 50 of these Ladas, and because I just want them available. If the kids are looking for a AA for their remote controller for their Xbox, I want them to find these, and then we're just going to carry one set. So You make sure that if you ever do this with your family and with your kids, you sit them down and talk to them about the fact that these batteries are not disposable.
Right.
Because I don't want my kids throwing away my batteries, right? So
yeah, battery's dead, throw it out. Yeah. So I have a very specific use at my house. I just bought a whole bunch of the AAA versions of these because I use them in wireless headsets.
Okay.
And so we put on wireless headsets when we watch shows at night, and there's like 7 of them.
Okay.
You know, and they each have they're the Sennheiser, and they each have a charger. I have 2 chargers, and I can just set the headphones on to recharge. So it's great because when the headphone's dead, just take it off, put on the charger, grab another one, and it just charges the batteries inside the headphones. So it's a great system, and so I don't have to worry about telling the kids not to throw them away because it's built in.
See, I've got rechargeable, like the kids' video game controllers. I've got the same kind of a setup.
Yeah, where you plug it in somewhere, it charges itself. It's fantastic.
I was going to show. You know what? I'm going to jump back a little bit here, just to make sure that people see these too.
Okay.
These are also, so I've got...
Want to do handheld?
Yeah.
Get detail?
Yeah, so what this is this is a little guy. So if you take your GoPro...
Oh, yeah.
And you put your GoPro on your capture clip, it'll hold it up there on your chest. So there's that one. Here's another one that is similar as far as that goes. Now, these are awesome. The other thing that the capture clip will hold is I've got a pair of binoculars, and my binoculars will fit on my capture clip too. There's a little adapter for one of those that costs about $20 that makes it so that your binoculars will sit on the capture clip, and so I can set a pair of binoculars. So I use them for everything. And
so if you guys want to try the Peak Design stuff, they got a ton of accessories for all kinds of stuff. It's pretty cool.
Now, the next thing that I'm going to talk about for...
The last thing.
Well, these are super quick. These are little ideas for gifts. You can buy 2 of these for about $12 on Amazon.
And they have the top that goes in the cold or hot shoe on your camera or gear. Yeah. And
I'll use these.
Really cool.
I'll use these quite a bit, even though on my Sony I can't see the histogram and the level at the same time, and so a lot of times it's just easier just to slap one of those into the cold shoe on my camera.
Cool.
Those are great. You can get 2 of them for about $12-15, so that's great. Here's another one, and these ones, these are called. This is a generic one, but this is you can get red whips from Mindshift.
Okay.
And you can get about 12 of these. They're about $1 each, kind of thing. But you can get off-brand. Just somebody's making these, probably in their garage, and
get them off Amazon or whatever.
You can get them for a little cheaper. And this is an off-brand one. And what this is for, and I bought like 50 of these. And I use them to wrap up all my cables because that's what they're for. But you can actually use them to where you can attach these to something else. You can attach it around something and hook that to your backpack. You can hook them together and use them for all kinds of things, and they're really handy. And they're cheap.
So we'll have an Amazon link for these guys. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And then the last thing is...
These are crazy awesome to use for all kinds
of
stuff.
And these are cheap, and this is a common problem that photographers or techie people have, is that if you get...
like this.
If you get something like this, or you get the...
It takes over your entire thing, right?
Right, or you get the big AC/DC converters for hard drives or for everything.
Any kind of power brick.
That if you get a standard power strip, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
You can put one of those on the end. There's some different solutions, but these are great. This is one thing I use. I've got a couple of these, and I use them pretty regularly. So the other thing you can do is you can buy one of these that's this long, and you can use this with your power strip.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then to make it so that you can just add one that way.
That's great.
So that's a couple of little gift ideas for people.
We'll have links and descriptions and the info on the bottom of the video. And so check these out, guys. And these are some awesome little quick gift ideas, stocking stuffers, and just things that make your life easier. So
yeah, they do.
Thanks, Drew, for bringing that.
No problem. Oh, yeah, we'll cover this one more time.
So we're going to do this one more time. You guys, please share the video, and you have a chance to win this Mindshift filter holder bag. And
called the Filter Hive.
Yeah, if you don't have a bunch of filters, you could use this for all kinds of cool stuff. So
we're letting people share this video now, or watching this now, or only next week during the live.
No, we'll share a link to this where they can share it.
No, the video exists right now.
Yeah.
Are you asking them to share this video?
Share this video
right now, or the video next week during the live?
Either one.
See, during the live, they share it a bunch. We get more audience. I think it should be next week's video during live. I will be tracking who's been sharing, and then we'll do a random drawing from those people.
Okay.
So it's during next week's shares.
Okay. So just let you know. Okay, so that's a good idea. So during next week's video, tune in next week at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, and we will have you guys share the video as you're watching it, and then whoever shares it will be keeping tabs on that, and then we'll give it away to one of you guys that share the video.
Look how this works.
We're trying to get more people to watch live every week. So he's doing a demonstration here on the how it works.
You're out at the beach, and now you got it just sitting on your belt.
Yeah.
And you can get to all your stuff. You can change your filters that quick. It also has one of these little guys, so you can strap it on your backpack.
Yeah, it's cool.
And you've got everything just sitting right there, totally available and quick. And it has a little cover right here.
Yeah, I like the cover.
That allows, like if the wind is blowing or something, there's blowing sand or whatever,
you cover back
then
up.
You've got another way to do that.
It's really great. And this is water-resistant material. I don't know if it's waterproof, but it's water-resistant. So if you drop the whole thing, it'll at least float for a couple minutes before you can
Which is important.
Yeah.
That's happened before.
Yep, it has. So thanks, guys, for joining us for another awesome episode of Gear Time. We're excited to share more stuff with you guys. We've got some lenses coming up in the future. We've got some other cool stuff. We want to do. My friend just bought a GH5, so I want to get that out one of these days and share that with you guys. He's bought it specifically for video, but I don't want to show it without borrowing it for a while and like really testing it out for a week. Yeah. So I'm going to do that first, and then we'll come back and show it.
Well, another thing that I've got that is really cool, but I just got it, is I've got the new, well, it's not new, it's about 2 years old, but it's the Garmin emergency beacon. And I've got one of those, but I haven't even messed with it. We're going to show that pretty soon. That will allow you to send a text message from anywhere on the planet.
Cool.
And so there's DeLorme there, who was purchased by Garmin. That's one of these. And then there's the Spot. And so I tried to decide between Spot and this. I came down on this one. There's some reasons why we'll cover that in the future too.
Awesome. That's good.
Because we've been in situations. I mean, we were down in Escalante. It wasn't us. We were prepared.
Right.
But we ran into a family that had lost their kids and their husband, and they got separated. And if we had had something like that, we could have actually done something about calling search and rescue and getting them in there. Instead, we saved them with the drone. But
yeah.
But we've got some more cool stuff that's coming up in the future. So keep watching.
Yep. Thanks for joining us, guys. Hope you have an awesome week. Take care.